The wild coast of South Africa, a graveyard of ships. Here, modern oceanography faces its ultimate test. We are deploying a side-scan sonar towfish, capable of mapping the seabed with sound waves rather than light. But in these waters, technology struggles against geology. Every shadow on the continental shelf is a potential false positive. We are looking for an anomaly, a straight line in a world of curves. We are hunting for 10,000 tons of riveted steel that simply cease to exist. This is, or was, the SS Waratah, the flagship of the Blue Anchor Line, 500 feet of Scottish engineering. Launched in 1908, she wasn't just a ship. She was a floating bridge between Great Britain and Australia. November 1908, Barclay Curle Shipyard, Scotland. The air is thick with coal dust and the deafening rhythm of pneumatic hammers. Here, in the gray mist of the Clyde, the Waratah was forged. She was designed as a hybrid, a massive cargo passenger liner built specifically for the grueling long haul to Australia. Deep inside her hull beat the heart of the beast. Twin, quadruple expansion steam engines. These were massive cast iron lungs designed to drive her through the roughest seas on Earth. But in the blueprints, a silent danger was hiding. To maximize cargo space, she was built narrow and tall. Too tall. A top-heavy skyscraper, waiting for the wrong wave. To the untrained eye, she was perfect, but to the dock workers, she was known as a tender ship. It comes down to a single terrifying number, the metacentric height. Think of a pendulum. If the weight is at the bottom, it snaps back upright instantly. That is a stable ship. But the Waratah, she was different. Her center of gravity was dangerously high. When she rolled in a swell, she didn't snap back. She hung there, paused, a slow, lethargic roll. Passengers loved it because it was smooth and gentle. But physics is unforgiving. Because if a ship hangs on the edge for just 1 second too long, and a second wave hits, gravity takes over. But a bad design is just a loaded gun. It takes a trigger to fire it. For the Waratah, that trigger was her cargo. July 1909, she leaves Durban loaded with a chaotic mix. Heavy lead ore concentrates at the bottom, and thousands of light wool bales at the top. In maritime physics, there is a rule: stowage factor. If you stack weight incorrectly, you change the ship's righting lever. But the real killer was the coal. The Waratah had huge coal bunkers at the very bottom of her hull. These acted as ballast, keeping her stable. But as she steamed south, fighting the storms, she burned through tons of this coal every single day. With every shovel thrown into the furnace, the bottom of the ship got lighter, and her center of gravity crept higher. By the time she reached the wild coast, she wasn't just a ship. She was a hollow metal balloon, floating on a knife's edge. The stage was set. A top-heavy ship, light on coal, entering the most dangerous stretch of water in the southern hemisphere. The Wild Coast, running down the east coast of Africa, is the Agulhas Current. Think of it as a massive underwater river rushing south at 5 miles per hour. It is the fastest flowing current on the planet. But on July 27th, a severe cold front hit. Gale force winds started screaming north, straight into the face of the south-flowing current. In oceanography, this is a death sentence. When a fast current slams into an opposing wind, the energy has nowhere to go but up. It creates the Cape Rollers, vertical walls of water that can reach 60 feet in height. The Waratah wasn't just sailing into a storm. She was sailing into a hydraulic crusher. This wasn't just a wave, it was a hole in the ocean, in the Agulhas Current, When wave energy stacks up, it creates a phenomenon known as a freak wave. Imagine a trough, a deep valley of water, followed instantly by a mountain. For a ship 500 feet long, this is the worst-case scenario. If the Waratah fell into that trough, her bow and stern would be buried in water, but her middle would be unsupported. This is called sagging. Or worse, if she was balanced on the peak of the wave, her ends hanging in midair. This is hogging. Steel has a limit. Rivets have a breaking point. Suspended between the sky and the deep, the Waratah wasn't just fighting the water, she was fighting her own weight. It happened fast, but for those on board, it must have felt like an eternity. The Clan McIntyre, a ship sailing nearby, saw a light astern disappear. Based on the physics of her hull, we can reconstruct the final seconds. A massive wave hits her starboard side. She rolls to port. 20 degrees. She should snap back. 30 degrees. The cargo shifts. The heavy lead oar at the bottom slides. The wool at the top swings. 45 degrees. The point of no return. Water pours into the coal chutes. The funnels hit the surface. Steam pipes explode. In the darkness of the wild coast, there was no scream, just the sound of steel groaning. And then, silence. For 115 years, men have hunted for her. From the early days of dragging chains across the seabed to the modern age of multi-beam echo sounders, we hunt for steel using magnetometers, devices that detect magnetic anomalies in the Earth's crust. But the wild coast does not give up its dead easily. The ocean floor here is not flat sand. It is a chaotic landscape of jagged volcanic rock. To a sonar operator, a rock formation looks exactly like a ship's hull. We call these false positives. Over the decades, 18 ships have been found in this area. We found the cargo freighter, Meliskirk. We found the tank landing ship, Griqua. But the Waratah, nothing. Just the silence of the deep. It is as if the ocean floor simply swallowed her whole. The disappearance of the Waratah changed maritime history forever. Because of her, new regulations on stability were written in blood. Wireless radios became mandatory on all ocean-going vessels, and rigorous inclining tests ensure that no ship leaves port top-heavy ever again. But the ocean keeps her secrets. Somewhere off the coast of South Africa, 10,000 tons of steel still lie in the darkness, waiting to be found. Until then, she remains the ghost of the southern seas. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, subscribe to the Abyss Archives. We have more mysteries to uncover.